Good morning and welcome to the GBI Consulting's Close Manager webinar. If that's what you signed up for, you're in the right place. My name is Sherry Shafraw and I'm the Engagement Manager at GBI. On behalf of the entire GBI team, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend this dynamic webinar demonstrating how to manage the progress and completion of tasks through its central dashboard. All lines are muted during the presentation. Please submit questions through the chat window to the host. There will be a question and answer session at the conclusion of the presentation. In the event we do not get all questions addressed during the session, we will respond via email following this event. Again, welcome to the presentation and demonstration on how to manage the progress and completion of tasks through a central dashboard. GBI is an Oracle Silver partner. We specialize in the close process and all things related to audit efficiency and compliance. We offer business and close process reviews and assessments, application reviews, full lifecycle system implementations for consolidations and FP&A, regulatory, including GAAP and IFRS reporting, compliance, tax, and management reporting, and additionally provide the Office of the CFO with advisory services and training. Our focus is on partnering with clients to design and build financial systems that are dynamic, efficient, and allow for greater alignment with the overall strategic vision of our clients. In addition to financial systems development, we excel at partnering with our clients to assess and streamline the actual processes that drive those systems. Over the past 20-plus years, our team of experienced accounting professionals and CPAs have designed and delivered hundreds of global financial system solutions. All of our project consultants have in excess of 10 years experience maintaining and implementing EPM systems. We are currently engaged in numerous projects and will gladly share references about our credibility and the value of our services. At this time, I would like to introduce Cathy Baldasty, one of GBI's EPM practice leads with over 20 years of experience in performance management. She's going to present and demonstrate Close Manager. Cathy is a graduate of the University of Illinois with a BS in accounting and holds an MBA from the Illinois Institute of Technology with a specialization in information systems. Cathy brings real-world experience, countless client collaboration, and deep technical and accounting expertise to our team. Cathy?
Thanks, Sherry, and thanks everyone for joining this webinar. I really want to make this a value add, and I want to go over our objectives today. So our objective is to demonstrate for you how to manage the progress and completion of tasks through a central dashboard. And what we're going to be showing you is Close Manager, where that can be your interactive project manager. So I don't know if this particular scene looks familiar to anybody as you go through the close and you've got a string of post-it notes and emails and all kinds of things that you're trying to pull together to manage the close and make sure that all the tasks are completed. So to get out of that craziness and to, it's time to reach out for help, this is where we want to show you how Close Manager can help you get ahead of the close and become the guy that's a little more kicking back and drinking coffee and the close runs smoothly. So I'd like to start with just an overview of some of the functionality in Close Manager. One of the things, it's a centralized monitoring of all the close process tasks. It's a repeatable, it provides like a repeatable system of record for running the close processes. So each month as you go through the close, you can always make improvements on the close, and then you can reuse those the tests that you have identified for your close. So you also have the opportunity to do some automation of some of the tasks in the close, tracking status of closed tasks, identifying where there's some bottlenecks, and if you have the ability for user notifications and alerts if there's a problem during the close. So a lot of this is all interactive. So as you're going through the close and the steps, users can, if they're having a problem, they can send an alert, and as you go through Close Manager, that alert is going to be notified via emails. You're always going to have a tracking of that and a monitoring of it. And as a manager, you'll be able to view this over a centralized dashboard where you're then going to see like early detections of bottlenecks in your close and be able to act on any errors or delays in your close. And then as you go through this, then as you're done with your close, you'll be able to print a binder of all the close tasks that were performed and making sure that all the right attachments were included in any particular task, that the right authorization happened, and then you can deliver that to your auditors for compliance purposes. Another good thing about Close Manager is a little bit of a misnomer calling it just Close Manager, because it's really, I like to think of it as project on steroids. I mean, you can use this to manage so many other projects and tasks that you have going on in your organization. So when we implement Close Manager, we took a step back and we said we really would, to do this from start to finish, we would break it down into 7 major steps. The first one, we interview and identify the tasks. Then once we've got those identified, then we organize them into templates. There might be some tasks that are monthly, some that you do so if you're on an off-quarter month, there might be a list of main tasks that you do, but then when you're on the quarter, there's a whole nother separate set of tasks. And then when you're at the year-end close, there'll be a third set of tasks. So there's ways that you can embed those together, so we help companies organize those. Then once you've got that preparation and that setup done, that's a large part of what the project is. Once you've done that piece, then you're ready to get into the project. And so then you're at step 3, where you actually get into the product, and that's where you do some of your initial setup. So like anything else, you've got to set up security, you have to set up users, you have to identify what people can do, you'll need to set up, periods and calendars. There'll be some things that are preset with some defaults for you, and then you can identify additional pieces that you want to set up. The 4th step, once you have everything set up, now you want to go into the product and you want to go into Close Manager and you want to import the tasks which are now included in templates. You want to import that into Close Manager. And then once you import those templates, you want to launch those templates into schedules, and the schedules are what you're going to be managing through your close process. So as we go through the demo, we're going to show you that, how to do that, and then how to manage those tasks through the process using dashboards. And then once you're done with the close and your schedule is closed and completed, then we're going to show you how you would take that schedule and you would produce an audit report out of that. So I just want to go through these steps in a little bit more detail. So step number 1, like any project, it needs to be well thought out in the beginning, and planning for anything is critical. So you want to go through like what is your day in the life, week in the life, month in the life, what are all your processes? Identify who your key users are, your subject matter experts. What are the feeder systems that are coming into your financial close? What's the supplemental information? What are the manual journal entries that need to be made? What kind of timing is there? Dependencies? What are the key SOX controls that you want to make sure you capture? And so once you've pulled all that together and you start identifying what that is, then you want to start scheduling interviews with those subject matter experts and start laying out like more of the specifics of what, day in the life is. And then also identify any current bottlenecks or any process improvements that you might want to try, to have as you start working through Close Manager. So once you do that, then you're going to create a list of tasks that correspond with the close, and with those tasks, you're going to define certain attributes like who owns the task, who approves things, who's submitting the task, are there any instructions you want to attach to the task, are there specific dates. So all those pieces, like anything, there are a lot of attributes that can be used. Not every attribute that's in Close Manager has to be applied to every single task. But this is where you want to start developing what your process is, and then let the software help you with that process. So don't hinder your process just based on what you think the software may or may not be able to do. There are a lot of options that you have in Close Manager. So when I talk about, like, step 2 was organizing those tasks, what we do with our clients is we've developed a utility that as we start doing these interviews and we start breaking down what the close is all about, we start identifying, like, what happens in the beginning, like what are the systems that, you know, the subledgers we're going to need to close, what is the maintenance I'm going to need to do with HFM or within FCCS, you know, what are those individual tasks? And so what we did with this utility that we developed was we created something so that we could see this hierarchical view in a color coding, and then off to the right where you see that it's not color coded, that's where we actually have the piece that gets uploaded into Close Manager. So the templates, our tasks are in here. This is basically a template. And then from this, we're going to create a basic comma delimited file, and that's what we're going to upload into Close Manager. And then we'll take that template and launch it into a schedule. So the next step is, once you've done step 1 and 2, and you know what your processes are going to be, then, and what your close calendar is going to look like, then you're ready to go into the product. And once you go into the product, that's where you're going to be setting up your users, assigning security controls. You're going to be defining years and periods for closed process activities, creating integration types. So integration types are going to be, you know, do I want to run a consolidation? So it's going to be, if you think about, if anyone's familiar with, like, task automation, that's what some of the integration types will be. You can also, once you're, as the admin setting up Close Manager, you can create task types. So there is a basic and a parent task type, but you can also create task types that are groupings of, you know, maybe one is GL data or loading ledger data, but basically you can create your own task types where those tasks are going to have something in common, like similar instructions, similar sign-offs, similar dates, etc. And then you can also create some custom attributes, and you can set that up ahead of time. And a lot of that is really going to be for, you're going to use that when you're trying to filter through your close schedule and you're trying to determine, like, what's open, you know, just trying to, like, see what you want to view. So that's for the custom attributes. And then also alert types. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to create your own alert types. So
while Cathy's reconnecting her, we lost internet, so she's reconnecting. The next steps in the process, as Cathy was describing, was to set up the tasks into templates. The product setup, setting up users and assigning security roles. Cathy's going to go through all of this in the live demo. So you're going to have users and groups of users that you can assign specific security roles, whether they're approvers, whether they're basic users that are just a handful of tasks. You'll be able to define years and periods for the close process or close process activities, that being whatever calendar year you're in or period. It could be fiscal or calendar. When Cathy gets back in, we'll jump over for her to share.
I think I'm back in.
Okay. So go ahead and start sharing, Cathy. I will stop.
Am I not?
Yes. Cathy Baldasty. Make her a presenter. All right.
Okay, that was fun. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. Okay, so where we're getting to, so we've done our setup, as Lou mentioned, then we have our tasks that we have in our spreadsheet that we've now, in our common delimited file that is now tasks/template. So our tasks make up our template. Our templates are then launched into schedules that we're going to manage through the close process. And then once we go through that step, and then and that's what we're going to show you in the demo, which I promise we'll get to soon. So once we launch those templates into the schedule, then we start managing that through a dashboard. So as some of the tasks are being closed, we'll start seeing the progress in our compliance overview and our dashboard. So if we do have tasks that are late or rejected or there's a problem, you can actually click on the dashboard and it'll then open up the task for you, where you can then start looking at that, shooting emails back to people, trying to, identify what's going on. And that's where you have that live interaction with people to find out what's happening. Okay, and then once you're finally done with your close and you're complete with that, then you're going to be able to generate a report binder that you could then send to your auditors, and then that'll have you can have attachments on there if you want, or not. So if you need to send the auditors some kind of, let's just say that you have, a monthly sign-off checklist that all your segments do to just validate that the data is accurate. Maybe have a questionnaire that they answer it, and that's their task. They actually have to, you would set something up with a questionnaire. They would yes, no, like my trial balance is in balance, I've tied out my data. They would attach that, and then that could also be included in the report binder that you send to the auditors. So now we're going to cut over into the live demo, and so this demo we're going to show you is in the cloud, and so we're showing the cloud version, and so Close Manager within FCCS. Okay, so once I'm signed into, Close Manager. So once I go into FCCS, so, I'm going into my pod, and, it's my application that I have set up. So I go to my navigation bar, and from here, I can open up Close Manager. So for today's session, we're really just going to focus on going through Close Manager. We've already got kind of pre-baked step number 3. And we've got some simple templates set up just for the interest of time, so we don't have to. Normally there probably would be several hundred tasks included in templates. So we just have a few set up, but we want to be able to just show you how you're going to upload those. And so as far as like the setup, we've already got that kind of pre-baked and set up. So we're not going to go through security and how to do all those pieces for this demo. So I'm going to open up Close Manager, and it's going to bring me to this, Administrator's Close Manager dashboard. So I could look at this. I have different views that I could look at this in. I could look at all these tasks in a calendar, and actually, similar to the hierarchy view that we had, I just want to show you, like, once I upload something in that template where I had parent tasks and I had children, or basic tasks underneath those parents, once I look at that in Close Manager in a task list, I'm going to see the parents, and then I'm going to see all the children under, or the basic tasks underneath them. I could look at that in a calendar view. I could look at it as a Gantt chart. Mostly, we typically find like this is pretty helpful just to look at it in a task view. So I wanted to at least show you something that had more tasks in it, that like this is even a more simplified version, but you could have hundreds of tasks included in here in this template. So what we're going to show here is we just have a simple set of tasks. So let's just say we're starting to close, and one of the first things that we're doing in the beginning of the close is we need to get the currency rates that we can load into the system. So we need somebody from Treasury. For purposes of this example, I'm going to play all the roles, but we'll need somebody from Treasury to send us the currency rates. Once we get those, we want to load those into FCCS, and then once we load those in, we want to load the ledger data. So what we're going to show is, like, for this template, so let's say I had a template with hundreds of tasks in it, and that's my master template. And so I use that for my January close, and then come February, I've got some new tasks that I want to use, or maybe I added some tasks when I was live in my schedule in January. So I've got a master template that I'm running. So now, for this case, I want to add a fourth task into here. So we were managing that in Excel, and then we created a comma delimited file out of it. So from this particular template that I'm looking at, and I could view it from here, or I could open the template from the list of, from the accessing from the other pane off to the side. So from here, what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to import tasks into this template. So what I'm going to do is I've just added one additional task. So then I want to find where is that task. So I have something already set up that's a comma delimited file. I'm going to open that one, and I want to replace what I have out there already. So I'm going to import that task. And it's just validating. So as it's running through this validation, it's checking to make sure that the people that I have assigned to particular tasks, like if you're the owner, the assignee, the approver, it's just checking to make sure that everybody has the right security and, you know, to do whatever it is that we're saying we want them to do in the template. So now I've just added an additional task in here that is consolidate. And so once I get my ledger data loaded, I then want to consolidate it. So for purposes of this example, we just created these as basic tasks, but if I wanted to, I could have this consolidation task actually be an integration where I'm actually running, this task is going to be something where I'm running the consolidation, and I would set up parameters for what I would be running that task for, like what you know, scenario, what periods, what entities, what am I going to be consolidating. So once I have my template, so going back to step 4 and 5, I've got my template, my tasks into my template, and I've loaded that. So I now want to launch this template into a schedule. And also, actually, before I do that, one of the things I want to show you, hang on, so I want to come into here. What I want to show you, too, is that, let me go to this template. If I edit this template, I can actually, and everything in Close Manager has a lot of different attributes, instructions that you can put on, to task, onto templates, onto schedules. But what I can also do in this template is I can embed another template. So earlier I talked about having monthly tasks, quarterly tasks, and annual tasks. So let's say that I'm going to be running this for March, and that happens to be, you know, my first quarter. So I want to do the set of monthly tasks that I have, and then I also want to embed another template. And so let's just say that another template here actually includes all the quarter tasks. So now I'm going to have my 200-300 tasks that were part of my monthly close. I'm going to embed the additional 50 that I'm doing on the quarter, and then it's going to create one overall template for the quarter close, and I'm going to launch that into a schedule. So as long as we're here, we're going to take this template that we've created, and we're going to launch this template, and we're going to create a schedule from this template. So for this schedule, I want this schedule to, I'm going to do the February close, And then I just need to identify what day 0 is. So that's actually really like business day 1. So once I start that, then it just starts to, based on the way I've set up what my normal close is like, that if my close starts, in this case, 15 days before business day 1, and how far out does it go into the calendar? It's already going to set all that up for me based on what I said business day 1 is for the February close. So I'm going to be doing that starting in March, and then it's going to lay out that calendar for me. So then once I've got that set and I'm good with everything, then I want to create the schedule. Oop, I want to give it a name. I want to forget that. So once this is going, as it's trying to launch this schedule, once the schedule is actually set up, so now I'm going to get, as an administrator, I'm going to get an email, and my phone is lighting up for me right now that I'm getting an email that this schedule has been created. So now, let me close here. Let me go into my schedules. So the schedule has been created for the February close, but it's just pending. I haven't launched it yet. So here's my last opportunity before I launch it. Do I need to make any last-minute changes to the schedule? If I'm good with it, then I'm going to go into the status and I'm going to open the schedule. So once I open the schedule, the emails, and once this goes through, now the emails are going to start going. So however many tasks I have on there, the emails are going to start going out and they're going to start alerting people. So the manager is going to get an email that the schedule started, that tasks are underway, and the person that's responsible for submitting the tasks, they're also going to be getting emails. So let me just flip over to here. So now that I've just started launching this February schedule, it just said that I've created a schedule, that the status has changed, so I've opened that schedule. Now it's going to start giving me tasks. So let's say I'm the person that's responsible for doing a task. I'm actually going to get an email, and from that email I can then click on the actual text, the task. So let's just say I was the person in Treasury and it said send the currency rates. So they can click on that email. It's going to automatically open up that task for them, and that's where, they've emailed the currency rates to the person that's going to load them into FCCS or HFM or wherever. So once they're done with that, then they're going to submit their task. So when I close this, what I want to show you is, so once I go into, let me go back to the home page and let me go into the dashboards here. And so we're in February, and notice how in February, when I first came in here, I don't know if you remember seeing that, there wasn't anything in here as far as open, late, anything like that. And because the dates on my schedule are set that, that they should have been done already, that's why they're coming up that they're late. So once I go into my dashboard for February, and I want to look at compliance, so I'm the manager and I'm sitting here and I want to see like where things are in the close. So I see that there are 4 tasks, they're late, and I see that 1 task has been completed. So then I can look in here and I could click on this to see like what the other 3 tasks are. So, from here, a little bit to open. I can go in and I can see what the tasks are. I can then send a notice to somebody else if it say, hey, what's going on? You know, is there a problem? Just close that. So if I go back to my email, and I had a task that was load currency rate. So someone's already sent them, so now I have a, you know, I'm a different user and I got this email and I want to load the currency rates because I just got an email from the person who who attached the file with the rates. And so now I've got them and I'm going to load them into the system. So I submit my task. So as I go back to my dashboard, now let's see how I can start seeing the progress has improved. So this is the interaction that you're going to be able to get. You're going to be able to bounce things kind of back and forth between people and see, you know, if let's say I went to load the rates and I couldn't get in, suddenly I got an error and I can't get into the system. That's where those alerts that we talked about in step 3, as an admin, you're setting up alerts. I might have an alert that says contact, you know, IT support, and maybe some services need to be restarted or something isn't working right and I can't connect. So then I'm gonna take that task and I'm gonna attach that alert, and then it's gonna send an email to someone who's responsible for helping me. And then also too, as a manager, I can oversee like what the status is. Is that getting resolved? Where are we at with the close? Are there any bottlenecks? And then, you know, kind of get us back on track. Also, some of the other things that you can do within the close. So let me get back to. Let me come back to close manager. So as I look at my schedule, and as I was originally setting this up as a template, like let's say that a new task comes up and I've already launched my schedule. So can I add a new task in there? Yes, you can. So I can go into my schedule and let's say, you know, something came through and it was like, you know, post another manual journal entry, or we have another disclosure requirement, and I can add a task into the schedule. The one thing you want to remember though is if I'm adding a task into a live schedule that I'm actually going through in this close, I need to remember to also add that task to my master template. So I can have, and you can have multiple templates out there, so if you choose to, you can have a template that was January close, and then if you make changes to the template, you can say create a new template that's called, you know, February close March. So if you want to start archiving those templates, you can do that. But each time that so when, you know, we just launched this into February, so then now to do the February close, now when I go to March, I'm going to have my new master template. If there were any changes, maybe there aren't, I'm going to then launch that template into a new schedule for the March close. And then once all the tasks are completed and the schedule is actually closed, that's going to be the point where I can then go into, so I'll just grab this schedule that's closed. I can go into the schedule, and then I can come down here and I can generate a report binder. And so once I've generated that, and I can say include alerts, comments, attachments, the more I have attached, obviously it'll take a little longer for that to run. And so we have one that we already ran against a bunch of tasks, and so this is a schedule where I would then send this out to my auditors, and they could click on any one of these links and see what the task was, who approved it, and did it have the right, authorizations on it, the right approvals, was, also too, if there are predecessor tasks, was this task done before another task? And that's another thing too, like when you set up tasks and I have like a hierarchy of tasks, I can make a task run so that like I can't run a consolidation or load rates or I can't run a consolidation until I've loaded the rates. So I can set up my task so that the task won't be able to start until another task finish. Or I can have my task set up so that I can start the task early, but at least it has to be done by a certain date. So there's a lot of flexibility, and I just want to kind of toggle back to the spreadsheet view that we had. We have a lot of different attributes set up here, and on some of these attributes where we're saying that there's a predecessor task and whether or not the task can be completed or started before another task is completed. There are a lot of other attributes that you can have on individual tasks, but you don't have to have them on every single task. So you can also have more than one approver, and you can also reassign tasks. So let's just say that I'm in the product or in the schedule, and as I'm going through the schedule, back to here, as I'm going through the schedule and I'm live in the closed schedule, and someone says, hey, I'm out, I'm going to be out to lunch, or I'm in a meeting and I'm not going to be able to run that consolidation by this date, I'm going to reassign that task to someone else. You can do that during the closed process. That still has to be approved by whoever the manager is above that person. Okay, so that kind of walks through sort of the process of, running through kind of the interaction and concludes our demo. So what I'd like to do is, at this point, kind of open it up for questions. And I'd like to introduce Lou LaTrenta, has been kind of by my side, like helping out and accumulating the questions.
Okay. Hi, folks. It's Cathy. We have a few questions from the audience. First question: can you integrate other software products in Close Manager? An example being like EPBCS or one of the other cloud solutions.
Yes, you can. And let me get back to the Close. So in some of the setup that you're doing, when you go in as the administrator, you can go into integrations. Remember how I mentioned some of the basic tasks we have set up where we just have somebody does a task in the product, but you could also have the task be something that's automated. So at this point, we really only have it set up for FCCS, but you could go into integrations and then go to manage integrations, and you could turn this on for other products. So right now we just have it turned on for FCCS, but I could turn it on to, other products that I want to, have an interaction with. And even, let me just jump in here too. Let's just say for the folks that might be taking a blended approach, and maybe you have HFM on-prem, but you have the cloud for Close Manager, and you're doing, some kind of a blended approach, you can actually interact back with and run integrations with HFM from an on-prem perspective.
Okay. Another question. Can you create tasks for teams and not just individuals? Yes.
You can set up teams, and then you would define who would be in the team, and you would assign that team to the task. So it could be anybody who's in that group.
Fantastic. One other question. Can you close a parent task that automatically closes the basic tasks underneath it?
No. What you have to do is you can't close the parent and then it just closes everything underneath. It kind of works the other way. You have to close all the basic tasks under the parent, and then the parent will close automatically.
One other question. Is there one user interface for FCCS and Close Manager? So that one UI, that screen that you pulled up initially, that's for FCCS?
Yes.
And
Yeah, so let me close out of the Close Manager. Session expired. So now this is my portal to, I'm going to get into FCCS. From here I can actually get into other pieces, supplemental data, things that we weren't going to cover today, but this is everywhere that I can go. Close Manager is just a piece of that.
Fantastic. Okay. At this point, we do not have any other questions from the audience. That will conclude the presentation for this event. We will be posting this PowerPoint presentation and the recording on our website, and we will email the participants from this meeting the link to both. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Sherry, whose email is up there now, and you will receive this her email in the deck as well. And that concludes our webinar.